Hey everyone, I'm Pidge, and we've just wrapped up our first playthrough of Grim Dawn. We took this character to max level and we beat all the content in the main game, and while it's fresh in my mind, I just wanted to do my take on things I wish I knew before we started playing. I hope you guys find this useful, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. The first point of the video is a really nice quality of life feature that's turned off by default in Grim Dawn. So here we have a pile of loot that's dropped from an enemy. Watch what happens when I walk over this. You see that it's left these items on the floor? These are all components. You are going to get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of components. We do not want to be clicking on these individually to pick them up. So what we can do is go into our options menu, the gameplay tab, and check this auto loot materials box. Okay. And watch what happens now. There we go. Constitution is a really important mechanic in Grim Dawn, and it's one that isn't readily explained within the game. It's extremely important in the early stages. It caught me out, so we want to make sure that you're prepared for it. Let me explain what it is. So here's our health bar, and over the top of it you see this yellow overlay. That's Constitution. Now we took a little bit of damage earlier, so we can clearly see that it's an overlay. As we take damage in combat, our health reduces. When we come away from combat, for about 2 seconds, our health will automatically regen back to full, but there's a trade-off. As it regens, this yellow bar here will reduce, and that cycle will continue. The yellow bar does not regen, so as you continue to take damage and regen, this will gradually reduce to 0. If this gets to 0, you will not regen health automatically, and you're in a really tricky situation. So there's 2 ways to get your constitution back, and it comes from enemy drops. One of them is a vital essence that can drop, and the other one is this, the food ration. So watch what happens to my yellow overlay when I pick this up. There we go, we're back to full. So I think I was about level 22 when somebody kindly came into my chat and was like, dude, why do you keep walking back to the nearest rift just to get back to town? Just drop a portal. I was like, yeah, great, let's do that. So all we do is we press L. That opens up our own personal rift. Using this, we can go to any rift that we've unlocked across the whole map. Now this has another really powerful use. I know that over this bridge there's a boss. So I can drop a portal here, and if we were to die, we would spawn back in town. Then what we can do is we can use the rift in town to go back to the portal that we just put down. And that way we don't lose the progress towards the boss. As you progress through Grim Dawn, you're going to gain access to a lot of skills, either from your skill tree, your devotion tree, and even the gear that you pick up. You can see here about a third of the way down, Ward of Illusion. That's a skill that we can use. Now, your active hotbar here is going to fill up pretty quickly. And what I wasn't aware of is that there's actually a hidden hotbar behind this. And we can click either this one at the side of the primary hotbar, or we can press Y to toggle to it. So what I suggest putting in here are one-time use skills, things like auras, and that way you'll only have to cast these either when you die or when you log into the game, and that just frees up your primary hotbar here for all the active skills that you use to play. This is for those of you that have decided to play a pet build for your first playthrough of Grim Dawn. Pet builds are really good because they allow you to learn about the enemy mechanics and boss mechanics from a distance while your minions dish out all the damage. Now, when you spawn your minions, up here in the top left, we actually have an option if we right click on them to change the way that the AI acts. by default it's set to normal, but personally I prefer to set these to aggressive. That's something you can mess about with and find the right balance for you. I come up against the same problem every time I pick up a new ARPG, and that is inventory space. When you first start the game, you're unsure whether something's valuable, something's not valuable, so I tend to keep hold of everything. Components in Grim Dawn, you're going to pick up hundreds of these, and there's so many different ones, it'll soon clog up your inventory space. They're used in two ways. You can see that this one, for example, gives any piece of armor plus 15 armor. And to use that, I can right click on it and I can attach it to a piece of jewellery, or in this case a piece of armor. The other use for them is at a blacksmith. If I head to this blacksmith here and I go to the components section, or consumables section, there is a list of components and you'll unlock more of these as you go along, and we can use the components to make better components. Now, we don't actually need to have these on us. The blacksmith knows what's in our stash, so we can actually store all of our components in our stash and free up a lot of the space, and I found that really useful. On the topic of inventory space, there was something else that I didn't know when I started. If we come to your stash manager in town, you've got two sections here. You have item stash. All of this is specific to this character, and then we have item transfer. All of these are shared across all of your characters. Now, here you can see the amount of iron that you currently have, and down the left hand side here you can actually buy more stash tabs which cost iron. So if you're struggling for space, take a look and see if you can afford these and pick them up as early as possible. It will help a lot. The last thing I want to talk about is something that might save you a bit of time. In addition to your skill trees, you also have this devotion tree. You level this up using devotion points, and there are 50 available in the base game, and a few more in the DLC. Now, devotion shrines don't really stand out, so you need to keep your eye out for these. On your map, they look like this, and on the minimap, you have the same symbol. Now, when I was playing through, when I got to the end of normal or veteran, I then used a tool online which shows you which devotion shrines you have picked up and which ones you've missed, just to help me go back and make sure that I got them all. And that tool was called Grim Tools, and Grim Tools is fantastic, and it's the first one you will probably will come up in your search engine if you search for it. The problem with Grim Tools is it's catered towards you having all of the DLC. So when I was doing my tracking in Elite and Veteran, it was actually incorrect. Now, I did come across another tool which was specifically for people who only have the base game, so I'm going to link that down below. If you are just playing the base game, use that alternative tracker for your shrines, and that will make sure you get all 50.